Mining the Solar System, Robots or People by Isaac Arthur, read by Isaac Arthur. While science fiction often depicts mining operations in space with conditions reminiscent of the worst coal mines of the past, mainly for storytelling and dramatic effect, the prevailing consensus is that future asteroid mining will be largely automated. It's hard to argue against this view. Purpose-built machines will typically outperform a general-purpose person at any given task, even before considering the additional challenges of working on a desolate, airless, weightless rock millions of miles from home. However, the reality may end up somewhere in the middle, and much of that comes down to what constitutes a home. Historically, securing a claim, whether for farming, mining, or other industries, has relied on two key factors. First, actively working the land or resource, and second, maintaining a resident population with a genuine intent to grow and sustain the settlement. Until recent times, the latter was a prerequisite for the former. But as we look toward the future of space development, nations and organizations invested in space settlement may encourage not just automated mining outposts, but inhabited and self-sustaining communities that could engage in trade and commerce, making them far more diplomatically and strategically valuable. An inhabited settlement is much harder for a rival power to seize than an uncrewed facility. In a very automated society, there will also be a need to provide people with some sort of purpose, and sending them to airless rocks to help create rotating space habitats or planetary communities should instill a sense of mission. Having people on site also provides a degree of flexibility that purely automated systems lack. While future human-level artificial general intelligence, AGI, might eventually match human oversight, deploying such systems autonomously in deep space contains a risk of failure. Even if asteroid mining is essentially fully automated, it may be advisable to have people living there. If automation is advanced enough to handle mining, processing, and material transport, it's likely sophisticated enough to assist in building and maintaining the necessary infrastructure for human habitation. Notably, human-machine collaboration has, to date, generally outperformed either people or automation alone. While asteroid mining operations may be highly automated, human oversight will still be crucial, especially given the significant signal lag and bandwidth limitations imposed by the vast distances of space. That same automation also provides the basic resources and in-situ resource utilization needed to build a community. Robot scouts will help look for good sites and select places to establish a facility. Then construction robots will arrive to install basic infrastructure. Human settlers will then follow to finish assembly and begin operations. It's also worth noting that even if robots are sufficiently advanced that they can build and operate a complete habitat on their own, people will still have a role. The people living in these facilities are unlikely to do much mining themselves. Their time will be spent repairing and overseeing the robots, and focusing on space farming, trading crops with other asteroid mines, or supplying food to an icy moon of Jupiter, where water and vital volatiles are abundant but agriculture is far more difficult. This is how trade networks form and how empires are born, making it a far more attractive option for leaders to move beyond robotic operations and build true space communities. Note that the demand for asteroid mines may not be unlimited since Earth contains more than 1,000 times the mineral wealth of the entire asteroid belt in sheer mass. While precious metals might be an attractive niche for asteroid mining, future large-scale operations will primarily support the expansion of an off-world economy, stretching from low Earth orbit to the Kuiper belt, rather than supplying resources to Earth. Metals like iron and aluminum are critical for building space infrastructure and habitats. If you're mining asteroids to construct space habitats, it makes sense to build some on-site. Asteroids also make excellent locations for settlements. A Von Braun wheel could be placed inside a crater, covered with a thin dome, and the nearly weightless excess rock piled on top. This would provide cheap and effective protection from radiation, micrometeoroids, or even hostile actions, making asteroid-based habitats not just practical, but strategically valuable. As for how many people to send, that's a bit trickier. It could start with just half a dozen temporary workers rotating in and out every few years, or perhaps a similar number but structured more like a family-run operation akin to a homestead. Alternatively, it might make sense to begin with a larger settlement from the outset, something closer to Dunbar's number, which suggests that people can maintain stable social relationships with a population around 150. A settlement of this size would function as a small village, but with room to expand, leveraging their robust in-situ resource utilization (ISRU) and growing trade networks to expand into a sustainable community over the long term. Requiring human settlements at any mine wouldn't just improve performance in key areas, as it would also allow for the development of habitats and self-sustaining communities. These settlements could, in turn, establish cottage industries and trade networks, reinforcing economic foundations of a spacefaring civilization. So, back to the question: robots or people? It's increasingly clear that both will be needed to move humanity beyond the confines of our homeworld and out into the great beyond. Again, this is Isaac Arthur, President of the National Space Society, and if you enjoyed today's video, it comes from the newest edition of Ad Astra, the magazine of the National Space Society, which is available in print or digitally by subscription and to all members of the NSS. To learn more, go to nss.org. Thanks for watching, and have a great week.